Hello there, it's Michael Robinson here. I'm a director at Emerson Solicitors Limited. Just wanted to take you through the client due diligence process, anti-money laundering, and it's also known as Know Your Client, KYC. Why do we do it? We're required to do it by law. It's an obligation that's placed upon solicitors and other people such as estate agents, mortgage brokers, accountants, various professions do it to various standards. And I'd like to think that most solicitors will do it better than anybody because hopefully solicitors understand the risks and don't particularly wish to end up in a police station or indeed court or ultimately in jail simply for failing to ask a few questions and to satisfy themselves as to the requirements. So what are the requirements? First of all, we need to know you as a client. Who is the client? Is there a third party in the background that's influencing what takes place, and who are those people and why are they involved? And let's identify them. If we can't identify them, then we stop doing the work. If we can identify you, so through photo ID, passport, and also through utility bill and bank statements, then that's fine. We can carry on. We need to undertake those checks on any third party that might be contributing towards the transactions. So say it's a purchase of a property. If your parents are lending you money in relation to the deposit, then we'll also have to ask the same questions of them as we ask of you. We then need to know the source of funds. From where is the money coming? Simply saying, oh, my mum and dad are going to lend me money isn't good enough. They will have to produce to us bank statements showing from where that money's coming. And they'll have to show us how that money ended up in that bank account. So from where it came into that bank account and as far back through the chain to establish where the money's come from, we have to go till we are satisfied as to the source of the funds. So source of funds doesn't simply mean my mum and dad are going to pay money towards this. Isn't that good enough? The answer to that is no, that isn't good enough. The same applies to you. Whatever money you've saved up, we need to know where it's come from. This might be very easy. You might be able to show a deduction from your wages into a savings account, and then that money transferred into another account from which you're going to pay us the deposit. You haven't gathered money from your parents. That's fine, perfectly fine. But so long as we are able to go all the way back through the paper trail to establish the source of funds, then we have done our job. And once you send us the money, we'll be asking you to prove that the money has come from that account by sending us a screenshot, perhaps, of your online banking or a mini statement showing that the money has actually come from the account you said you were going to use to send it to us. The reason we do that is because the banks these days will not tell us from which account money has come. They used to, but they don't anymore. Then there's another element to all of this that's a bit more complicated, which is we need to consider source of wealth. We need to think about you and any other person who's contributing and ask questions to establish if they are the sort of person that could be the sort of person who could provide the money that is being provided. How did they accumulate the wealth? And this is the source of wealth question. Do they look like the sort of person who could have saved up whatever amount of money it is that they've saved up over the sort of time period that the bank statements show? Or does it seem that there's perhaps been money has been obtained from somewhere and plopped into a bank account without any proper explanation as to how it's been obtained? Simply saying we've sold shares or we've called in investments isn't good enough. We would need to see correspondence that shows that shares have been sold, where that money came from, into which account it went, and then traveling all the way through to the account that it now sits in before the deposit is paid to us. So that is know your client, that is know the source of funds, and that is understand the source of wealth. That applies to you, the client. It applies to any third party. It applies to a situation where we might be writing a will and we need to know how the person has accumulated the assets that they are referring to in their will. We need to identify beneficiaries to make sure that we are giving the money to the correct person. It applies in divorce cases. How is it that this person has accumulated all of this wealth very quickly and wants to divide it up with their short-lived wife? What is going on here? Are we being used through some form of sham marriage, sham divorce? Are they really actually the people who were married that have come to see us? All right. And the same applies, of course, in property transactions, where mostly this sort of work is requirements are involved because people use money that they've accumulated unlawfully to launder through property purchasing and then selling, and because that's the easiest way of doing it. Well, unfortunately for anyone who thinks that it is the easy way of doing it, the regulations now are such that it really isn't, and we have to ask lots of questions, and we are going to ask those questions until we're satisfied. If you've any issues with what you're being asked, then don't take it out on my colleagues. They are doing what I am telling them to do. I am the responsible officer in this company. I am the person that's responsible for money laundering, regulation and compliance. So if you have any issues, do get in touch with me. That's Michael at emersons-solicitors.co.uk. I'm a director of Emerson Solicitors. I'm the person ultimately responsible, as I've said, and I'm the one that the law enforcement authorities would come after if our firm was used, whether deliberately, i.e. we assisted somebody, or unwittingly, because we didn't ask all the right questions that we could have asked to launder money. I'll be the person they'll be talking to. So if you've any issues at all, please do get in touch with me. Thank you.